6 years ago today, the day that this video is actually releasing, I uploaded my first ever YouTube video to this channel, and actually a YouTube video ever. For those who don't know, my first video that I ever recorded, edited, uploaded to YouTube was actually the first video I've uploaded on this channel, which is actually still up to this date. It's the first episode of White's Wonders Minecraft World. Some of y'all will probably have already seen that series. Many of you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. You're probably thinking I'm talking about White's World, which was an amplified series. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the single player world, the Minecraft single player world that started my journey here on YouTube this day 6 years ago. Wow, six years is it's a lot of time. Like that's I've been almost all the way through college in 2/3 of that time, which is pretty crazy. I started this channel back when I was a sophomore in high school, so very different times. I'm 21 now. I was 15 back then. That's very crazy. Totally different life experiences, totally different approaches to life, almost a totally different person back then I was versus now. To some degree yes, to some degree no, but still 6 years is a lot of time. For those of you who've been here for even a year or two, appreciate it. Those of you who have been here for 6 years, if there is anyone else out there who has been here for 6 years, feel free to comment down below. That's insane. If you've been here all 6 years, that's insane. But heck, if you've even been here for a month, that's still pretty insane as well. And I appreciate you for joining me in this journey on YouTube, on Twitch, on any of the social media platforms. I really do appreciate it. Speaking of social media platforms, I got really curious as to what the statistics have been like on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter over those past 6 years. Some of those platforms I haven't used for all 6 years. For instance, Instagram has been a 2020 thing. But I thought I'd go over some of them because I think that they're pretty interesting. Some of them either surpassed or are about to hit or are very close to hitting my goals for this year, but many of them I just didn't have goals for, so I still think it's pretty interesting. On YouTube, as of the recording of this audio and as of the day that I got all these statistics, we're currently sitting at 7,895 total subscribers. That's a net gain of 1,871 people in 2020. To give you an idea, that's about 1.5 times the size of my entire high school. So that's just for this year. Let alone, the total number of people who have subscribed to this channel is well over probably 5 times. 5 times? Yeah, well over 5 times or maybe just about 5 times the amount of people in my high school, which is pretty crazy. In terms of total views, we've passed 750,000 total views on the channel, 738,879. That's a net gain of 191,496 just from 2020, which is insane. The time that I actually really like to look at is the number of hours watched throughout the year and throughout all the years that I've been doing YouTube. 81,800 hours watched overall. That's a net gain of 20,626 hours watched in 2020. That's a lot of hours you guys have been watching of the content on this channel, and I cannot thank you enough for continuing to find the channel. I know some people who have gone back and watched older videos if you've subscribed later on, which is insane. I mean, I sometimes have done that to YouTube channels that I like, but wow, that's just insane to me that you guys would go back and watch that. Not to mention, a lot of those are probably new people who are just finding the channel today, this year, whatever. So that's pretty insane. And the last statistic that I think many of you who may or may not be watching this may have found the channel from, the first episode of my Hardcore Survival Island series that I did with Cody back in, was that 2018? No, that was 2019. Year and a half ago now. Is now my most popular video on the channel, which is insane because the first episode of White's World, my first amplified series, used to be the most popular video, and now it's been replaced, which is to me insane. I never thought that was going to happen anytime soon, so that's pretty dang crazy. So thank you all so much for all the support on YouTube this year. I know it's been rough on YouTube for me. I haven't uploaded nearly as much, and a lot of you have said that, and a lot of you have seen that, so I'll talk a little bit later about some of the things I want to do in 2021, but that should change. Hopefully. I say this every year, but I definitely feel like it's at least good to make an attempt to try to change these things. Otherwise, they really will just never get changed. In terms of some of the other social media platforms that some of y'all maybe watching or following or whatnot, Twitch, we far surpassed, almost doubled my goal for the year. We just, as of, like I said, of the recording of this audio and getting all these statistics, we hit 7,350 followers on Twitch. That is a net gain of about 4.2 thousand, so 4,200 people in 2020, which is insane. And there was also a total of 82,935 channel views at the time of getting all this stuff. That's a net gain of 29,000, roughly 29,200 in 2020, which once again, I only stream 3 days a week. For those who don't know, I do stream over on Twitch 2 to 3 times per week, mainly weekends, but I fit in the occasional Wednesday stream when I can. That's wild, dude. Like that is far beyond what I was thinking was even capable for this year. In large part is because of hardcore. Large part is because a lot of you all who may have subscribed to this channel and who are watching over on Twitch have come back stream after stream after stream. You seem to have enjoyed the content, and I cannot thank you enough for coming out to those streams. Even just opening a tab means the world. I've actually applied for Twitch partner once, which many of you here on YouTube may not even know. I actually hit the 75 viewer average and a whole bunch of other statistics you need to apply for Twitch partner. I was denied partner, which to me made total sense, but wow, that's just insane. And finally, a few other interesting statistics. Instagram, we just hit 2,464 followers, which is nuts given that I started the year with basically not having an Instagram account. And for those who don't know, I post some of my Minecraft builds that I've done here on this YouTube channel, stuff I've done on Twitch. I shared screenshots over on my Instagram account, and wow, like people seem to really enjoy it. I mean, a lot of people have been saving the stuff that I put up on there as inspiration, and I've got a lot of really good feedback from it. So I'm glad a lot of people are really enjoying that. Then on Twitter is not really a big deal just because is just a place I use for updates and for venting occasionally. 822 followers, which is pretty cool. Pretty dang cool that 822 people find me cool enough to follow on Twitter, which is pretty dang cool. I don't bring up these statistics because I want to brag or sort of be too focused on the numbers. I just think it's really cool to look at this and see how many people over the past 6 years have watched the content. Watch the things I put out on YouTube, watch the things I put out on Twitch, looked at some of the builds on Instagram. The number of people who have tuned in, left comments, chatted on Twitch, done all these different things and interacted with the content, and even just watched the content, maybe left a like, or maybe just sat back and enjoyed the content, is insane to me. When I first started this 6 years ago, I know a lot of YouTubers say this, but I seriously did not think I would get much past maybe 1,000 subscribers, or definitely would not have almost over three quarters of a million total views on the YouTube channel. That is insane. That is an insane number. The hours watched number, 81,800, is insane. It just surprises me. I don't think I'm that interesting of a person. Honestly don't think I'm that interesting of a content creator, definitely compared to other people. So to see that many people still tune in and think that it's worth your time to tune into my content, wow, that's pretty cool. That's really, really cool. I'll be saying this a lot throughout the video, but I probably already have, but thank you so much for 6 years. Thank you for watching all the content. Thank you for staying subscribed, resubscribing, being a new subscriber, whatever it might be, or even just watching the content. Even if you're not subscribed and you're just watching the content, man, that just means the world to me. So I really, really appreciate that. Know that it doesn't go unnoticed. Even though I don't upload to YouTube as much as I should be, and like I said, a little later on, I'll kind of describe what I plan to do for 2021 or what my focus is going to be. I really appreciate y'all taking the time to watch my content. So, yeah, you're amazing. Thank you. And because it's the 6-year anniversary video, and because I'm taking a look back at some of these statistics and thinking back to when I first started, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of advice. If you're a YouTube content creator, or even you're just someone who is interested in what my thought process is And what I've taken away from these 6 years, I wrote down 3 major bullet points that I kind of want to cover fairly briefly about my 3 takeaways from my 6 years on YouTube and my 6 years creating content. Because for those who don't know, yeah, this is my 6-year YouTube anniversary, but I've been streaming off and on Twitch for almost 6 years now as well. So, and I guess not just Twitch, but different platforms, YouTube. I think I was on Beam, which is then became Mixer, which is now no longer a platform, for a short amount of time, for those who remember those days, which I doubt as many people, but I've made a lot of content. I've streamed a lot. I've created a lot of YouTube videos, and there's 3 main things I've taken away from the past 6 years that I think might have been useful for me when I first started. Number 1, understand YouTube trends and SEO. What I mean by that is SEO is search engine optimization. Things like your tags, things like your description, your title. These are the types of things and the things that are currently popular on YouTube. Those are the kinds of things that help you as a content creator outside of just making content and putting it out there and possibly sharing it to some places. That on YouTube is what gets picked up by the YouTube algorithm and is more likely to share your content. So understanding what search engine optimization is, how to best optimize your tags and your thumbnails and your titles and all kinds of different things that can get picked up by the algorithm. I don't think thumbnails can, but thumbnails do help in terms of interest. Understanding that sort of stuff first, which I had no idea about when I first started. Like I said earlier, my first video is the first episode of White's Wonders Minecraft World. I was so new. I recorded that video in 1080p, but rendered it in 480p. Because I didn't know how to render a video in 1080p, and I thought I could, but I was using Windows Movie Maker, and it was a whole fiasco. And it's a learning process. It's a learning process the entire way. Part of me wishes that I was able to understand these sort of trends and how to better market myself for more eyes to get on the content and to have a bigger impact on people, because that's ultimately what it is. When you're editing your tags or when you're editing your description, that's your way of basically getting YouTube to recommend your content to people. So no matter what your goal is, which for me, a lot of my goal is just to have a net positive impact on people. That's how you do it. That's how you have the maximum effect that you want to have on people, which like I said, for me is to have a net positive impact. So the greater positive impact, the greater my net positive impact is on people, the more successful I feel like my channel has been. And despite everything I've said about SEO, it probably seems like, oh my goodness, it's a lot of work and you're putting too much time and effort into statistics. My second takeaway is to enjoy yourself. This is me telling me from 6 years ago to just continue to enjoy it and do things not just for content, but also for yourself. Because at the end of the day, when you're a content creator, sure, people are going to watch your content, but if you're not enjoying your time on the platform, if you're not putting yourself in situations in which you are going to enjoy what you're doing, ultimately you're going to hate it. And there was a decent time through YouTube where I was sort of forcing myself to make content and to think about content all the time and to put my best foot forward all the time. And after a while, it kind of became a point where I didn't know why I was doing that anymore. I didn't know why I was continuing with YouTube. I didn't know where the platform would be for me in the future. So I kind of settled back, sort of regathered myself and said, okay, I need to do things that I really enjoy, and I can't put this burden on myself to always be producing content, because if I do that, if it feels like a burden, I'm not going to produce content because I'm not going to want to produce content. And that's sort of partially what this year has been. 2020 has also been very busy for me IRL, so that's been part of it. But even when I have had time, I wanted to do other things other than create YouTube videos. I think a lot of that is because I put so much pressure on myself for so long. I was such a Debbie Downer, if you will, about my content and the fact that I wasn't putting out as much content as I should, theoretically I should have, and that sort of impacted my ability to want to do things. So moving forward to 2021, that hopefully that will change. But this transitions into my third takeaway, and the main takeaway I have from the past 6 years of content is 3 simple words: have no regrets. I look back at my time on YouTube, and honestly in Twitch streaming, I look back at all the missed opportunities I had as I was making content, where I was putting so much pressure on myself to make content that it resulted in me actually not making content. And that is one of the biggest mistakes you can make. If you put too much pressure on yourself to make the best content you can, to make every video count, you want to make every video the best you can, but within reason, without burdening yourself with that. So having no regrets can be a difficult thing to accomplish unless you set your goals correctly and unless you define your boundaries of success correctly. And that's sort of the final thing I wanted to talk about in this video, the definition of success and moving forward, what exactly I want to do for 2021. A lot of the time that I've been on YouTube, my definition of success has been numbers. It's been, I guess, net impact, not just positive impact, but net number impact, how many videos I'm putting out all the time, the quality of those videos. All those things are what drove whether I was successful or not. And if I was not hitting my personal benchmarks to me, that nowadays they were unrealistic, but certain benchmarks that I had set for myself, I was not successful because I wasn't uploading enough content. I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't making every possible opportunity into an opportunity for content. And that's a really dangerous mindset to have. If your definition of success is on how much content and making every single moment that you possibly can into content, it's honestly not gonna do well for you. And over the past 6 years, that's been a major driving force throughout YouTube for me. And one of the major reasons I haven't found that I don't think my content has been very successful. My time on YouTube, I don't think has been very successful based on those standards, because I feel like unrealistic standards for what success for this YouTube channel should be. So abrupt interruption time. Yeah, I was listening back. I'm currently editing this video as I am recording this commentary. I listened back to my original commentary for my goals for this year, and I realized that it completely contradicted everything that I had just said in the previous 5 minutes that you guys have heard. Everything that I was about to say was about content, make sure that the content is consistent, make sure that I get out 2 videos a week, and making sure that, because I think it's realistic and things like that. But ultimately, that may be a good formula that I want to stick to, and that I could stick to, and that I will try to stick to some degree, but that's not the goal for this year. The goal for this year is simply to not burden myself with content, and I've done a pretty good job of that in the past year, but approaching YouTube and Twitch in such a way as to not make it a burden. If I get out 2 videos a week, every single week, and that is the goal, but if I get out 2 videos a week, that's great. But if I don't, no big deal. And I know some of you guys watching may not be the happiest with that, but looking back, reflecting upon the past 6 years, I've realized that keeping myself to a schedule has been pretty much impossible. Apart from the first year of me making content where my content was absolutely awful, apart from that time, it hasn't done one good thing for me other than burden my life with something that really doesn't need to be a burden. So while I will be trying to put out 2 videos a week, while I will be trying to stream 2 to 3 times a week, while I will be trying to post things on Instagram on a consistent basis, the biggest focus of this year is going to be unburdening myself with the thought of content, the thought of not only disappointing you guys, but disappointing myself by not beating myself up if I don't get the 2 videos out a week that I have, if I don't stream 3 times a week, 2 times a week, if I have to miss a stream, if I have to miss content, if I don't get videos out for a little bit, putting myself in a mindset where that sort of outtake, that sort of outlook to content is my main outlook, is what's really driving me, I think is going to be the healthiest for this year. Yeah, that's where we're going to wrap things up for today, folks. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video. Thank you all once again so much. If you've been around for all 6 years, if you haven't been, doesn't matter to me. Thank you so much for being here regardless for part of this journey. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope you all have fantastic rest of your days. Thanks for watching. See y'all next time. Bye-bye.